Yep, so it's Al here with Matt.
Hello.
And although we are not one of the worthy and the chosen to be bestowed with 3 copies of Legion Imperialis from GW, we do have our own copy on the way. And in the meantime, we've been sort of absorbing and drinking in articles and YouTube videos and stuff like that. And I think it's fair to say that the reaction's been kind of mixed. Would you say, Matt?
Yeah, seems it. I mean, I've read a review or two where people seem somewhat disappointed, either at the quality or some of the editing in like the build booklet and stuff. I mean,
Yep.
one of them even said that like the rule book was boringly presented, and I
Yeah,
was like,
we'll get into that. I think the problem.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll get into it. We're gonna go through all this stuff. I think some of the criticisms are absolutely valid, and I think that some of the criticisms are people who just aren't used to this kind of game.
not being realistic, like.
Yeah, not being
I mean,
realistic and just spoiled by 40k a little bit.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, you've actually handled some of the miniatures yourself, given that you live like a giant's cock's distance from Warhammer World. But so I'm just gonna have to fall back on that and just go.
Yep.
I mean, fall back on you seeing them, not a giant's cock.
Not on the giant's cock. Not even by accident.
Not even. I don't think I'd be able to accommodate it.
Yes, I took the trip down to Nottingham City, and I can't bring myself to call them Warhammer stores.
No, it's Games Workshop.
I'm sorry, I can't. It's Games Workshop. So yeah, I went down to the GW in Nottingham City Centre because I saw that they had Legion Imperialis in, and I was quite honest because they came up to me all happy in their eyes, like, "Oh, Legion's coming! He's going to what are you in for?" I'm just here to look at Legion Imperialis. I was quite honest, and there was even a chap. There's a chap with a clipboard who came over and asked me a load of questions for marketing. And I told him, "What brings you to the store today?" I was like, "Oh, mate, I'm being completely honest. I just came down to look at the tiny little models. That was it."
Yeah, that's kind of and they sort of look a little bit like, "Oh, you're not spending any money."
Yeah,
I kind of had a similar
exactly
experience. Yeah, when I was helping out Artifact Games at the UKGE this year. Like, obviously we got in before all the public did because I was helping out on the stall and I was counted as a vendor, and I just had a bit of a mosey around after we'd set everything up. We weren't too far from the Games Workshop site that's there, and it's by far one of the biggest sites there, along with the guys that did like the Star Wars Shatterpoint. I'm not sure who that was off the top of my head, but their area was pretty big. Yeah, that area was pretty big. The GW one was big, and a chunk of it was shop and stuff. And it was also, I think it was the first time they'd put out the Leviathan box set stuff in public.
Yeah, they normally take Forge World down there as well, don't they? Did they do that this time?
Yeah, I think there was probably a slight Forge World presence there. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember
Forge World actually existed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there was because I asked them for some Knights Styrics, I think, for Titanicus, and they were like, "Sorry, we didn't bring any of those." And I was like, "What good are you? Thanks very much." But I mean, it's fair enough. It's kind of like a niche unit in their non-flagship game, so it's fair enough. And I wandered over to the tables that they'd set up with like the Leviathan box contents because obviously I wanted to clap eyes on the new plastic Screamer Killer, given that it was one of the first metal models that I ever got back as a teenager.
Yep.
And like a dude came over and he was like, "Oh, do you fancy a demo game of 10th at all?" And I was like, "No, I'm all right, thanks, mate." And he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, I pretended I prefer my Warhammer with a bit more depth and logic to it rather than just ambiguous changes and other stuff." So I said, I was just polite. I said, "No, thanks. It's not quite my bag, and this is why." And he literally looked at me and he said, "Yeah, I can understand that, mate. Have a good day." And I was like, "Oh, thanks. I'll see you later."
Fair enough.
And that was that. So
he was similarly executed by Games Workshop later.
But he probably will be now. He probably will be now.
His head's just going to go beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. They'll go over the old video footage and they'll go, who was talking to the portly fellow with the dreadlocks and the beard?
They're already getting the security camera footage. They will not let shit like that pass.
We're fine. We're far too small and titchy with all our 2 subscribers for any Games Workshop stuff to actually give a shit. Really, that's fine.
21, I'll have you know, and
seriously,
at least 10 of those aren't our friends.
Are you sure it's not 2.1?
No, definitely 21. We're getting there. What can I say? 2 million coming in soon. But yes, anyway, what we are going to talk about tonight is Legion Imperialis. So as we have digressed, as we always do, I went down to Games Workshop in Nottingham City and had a look at the models themselves. And they had a couple of stands of painted Imperial fists, which look nice. And we'll talk about the infantry models in a minute, but they look nice to me. They were nice and bright, and I was blown away by the amount of detail they've managed to get on those models. Like
Even the infantry.
even the infantry, they look like tiny little versions of the bigger. It's not 28mm. It's not been 28mm for a long time. 32mm or whatever. They look like versions of that. I was quite impressed, especially by the command stuff. But the tanks, are on another level. They
Nice.
are absolutely incredible. They're all like, I don't know, a dozen parts to put together. The
Yeah, that
turrets
does seem
move,
an
the
awful
little
lot.
sponsons move. They are incredible pieces of plastic engineering. They are the level of Titanicus kits. That's how good they are. This is not like Epic 40k. We had the one, they didn't dumb down the starter box. This isn't like 40k where you've got your push together snap fit plastics. These are proper kits, and obviously we're going to talk about the value and the contents of that kind of stuff in a bit. But I was just blown away. I picked them up, and this tiny little Predator tank in my hand, and it was with absolutely no corners cut, a small version of the big thing.
I mean, to be fair, like we've both got like a Mars 3D printers of varying types.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say if you've printed off any of like the epic kind of level STLs that are knocking around on the net, would you say the detail is better than those, or?
Yes, I would.
Nice.
I would say it's actually better than those. It's one of those
People are going to
things
step
where
up.
a 3D print really is, you are going to be able to tell. You are massively going to be able to tell a 3D print from the actual plastic tanks. Can't talk about the infantry because the infantry are just, they're all one piece models apart from some bizarre reason. Missile launcher is separate. I presume just because there's a two-dimensionality about the models, even though they are very detailed, and the missile launcher is massively outside of that. So that's a separate piece. But the detail was amazing. But the tanks and the Contemptor just blew me away. They're just tiny little versions of the bigger things, and that's, for me, is where the real value is, because or the real quality is, because I've seen some pictures of the infantry and I've seen some of the undercuts. And I was recently watching a YouTube video by some chap, and I can't remember the name of the channel now. I will try and put it like in text or something in the video. But they did basically painting one of each legion, one model for each legion, and in those you could see, I mean, there are some horrific undercuts, like bits where you've got sort of the bayonet on the bolt gun, and the bayonet and the bolt gun has a straight line to the leg, like a diagonal line, and then that's just all extruded plastic. So it's the kind of thing that you do see sometimes on some 28mm stuff as well. Not 28mm, it's not been 28mm fucking forever. 32mm or whatever size, the bigger size. But because there is a lot of detail, but there's not as much detail, obviously, it does just look like a big blob of plastic. So you're either going to have to do a little bit of trimming, which may be what I do, for the under ones at least, because the under ones at least stick out. The problem with some of the undercuts is on the above pieces, where it's the top of the bolter, and there's meant to be a space in between the bolter and the chest, and there isn't. It's just flat plastic. Now, it's going to be far too much effort to dig all that out, so I would recommend just painting it black. But in all honesty, these things are like 8-9mm. 5 of them on a base, you're going to look at them from 2 foot away, you're not going to notice. Yeah, so although there have been some pictures going around saying, oh, it's really, really bad, these are awful, and although I do confess I don't remember seeing those on any of the 3D prints that I have done, because I did, long before Legion Imperialis was a thing, I printed off loads of little mini Marines for my Titan bases. The detail in them is very impressive, and I think they look absolutely fine. It's a shame, but that and the fact that they're only attached to the sprue by just the base, which makes them brilliant for painting on the sprue. I think they're just yep.
Oh,
the only way those Marines are attached to the sprue is by the base. So what you could do, what I'm going to do, is I'm literally going to prime everything on the base, and then I'm going to clip off the gates so I can get to each row and the top of the models. I'm just going to paint it all on the sprues.
That probably sounds like
rather
the best
than
idea, I
clipping
think.
off bits and having bits of grey plastic that go disappearing on my upsettingly grey carpet that's nearly the same colour as the sprues, never to be seen again. I don't want, half my 13th Legion in the carpet. So, and I'll
Hiding
put
from
some
Gargamel.
pictures up, and the tanks, I couldn't believe all the bits were moving. I was like a giddy little child. I was like, "Wow, this is so cool."
I can't believe I'm hearing you say all this
Yeah,
stuff. You're not
seeing
complaining
them
about it.
the Predator tanks I picked up, they are perfect, Matt. They are perfect. There is absolutely nothing wrong. If I had to say something wrong with them, I would say you're going to have to be careful with them. You cannot. This isn't like the old days of Epic where you could just chuck stuff in a box because it was mostly one piece or two
Yep.
pieces. You will break pieces off. They're fragile. The engineering behind them, like you've got the pintle-mounted weapons are separate. Not the sponson weapons. The pintle-mounted weapons are separate. I mean, we're
You
talking
know. I mean, it's
crazy.
good. It's good for
Yeah, absolutely.
representation,
I don't know if it's a little bit over the
but
top for an epic scale game, but I massively appreciate what they've done because they look amazing. We'll talk a little bit later about the value of the box and whether or not they detract from it. And also, I've got my own opinions about the Titans and things. But as engineered pieces of plastic, engineered plastic models, they are absolutely incredible. I was just blown away. I cannot
nice.
wait to paint these and try not to lose pieces as I put them together. I've got a feeling I might actually
Yep.
need to put like sellotape, double-sided sellotape all over my floor so that if anything falls, it doesn't ping and bounce away. It just sticks to the tape. I'm like, ha, gotcha.
Or just get like a big plastic crate and then just work in that. So if anything pings
What
off,
I'll
it just rattles
do,
around in the
you know
crate
the
and
things
doesn't
when
go
they're
anywhere.
like handling dangerous things and you've got like your gauntlets, you've got the holes in the box and you put your hands in. Just do that. So if you
Yeah.
do, it
Yeah.
just ping, it just bounces around in the box. Painting might be difficult, but that's fine. That's fine.
Best of luck. Best of luck
Yeah,
doing it
well,
with
yeah, I
gloves
mean,
on.
they're big, thick rubber gauntlets as well. I don't think there's a lot of tactile feedback in there. But yeah, I went down to see them and I was just blown away. I was just like, yeah, okay, I don't really care about the infantry. And some of the infantry look absolutely fine. The Terminators looked really nice on the sprue.
Yeah.
Assault
Assault
Marines,
Marines.
yeah, they looked fine. Again,
Most of the Solar Auxilia
some of
seem to be pretty
the
decent.
swords and stuff might be a little bit. You're going to want to be gentle with it. It's not going. I don't think they're going to take abuse, which is another good thing. That it's not going to be kids playing this. It's not
Entry
entry
level.
level exactly, because I don't think the models take a lot of abuse. One of the things that comes with a lot of detail and fine pieces is an inherent fragility to certain things. Like I've been putting some Mechanicus together, and quite a lot of that stuff is tiny little antennas and things is really fragile, and it only takes knocking the model off of a tabletop to the aforementioned grey carpet, and that little antenna's popped off, and never to be found. Never to be found. The next time
Yeah, no
I
chance.
witness that, the presence of that particular piece will be when it goes up the Hoover.
Yeah. What was that rattle? We've
Exactly.
all heard it.
So yeah, no, I was really impressed.
All heard
I've
it.
watched GMG's videos, Ash Barker, Gorilla Miniature Gaming, I think his channel is. And although I don't like his new theme
Okay.
tune at all, it's been some good videos, and he's gone through like the different Legion traits and stuff like that. I can tell you your Dark Angels get, is it Osphex and is it Stubborn, I think, keywords?
That sounds about right. That'd be Dreadwing and General Dark
Yeah, and
Angel's
then if
grumpiness.
they're cavalry units, they get something else. The Legion traits don't seem to be sort of massive special rules a la 40k that massively change the game.
Oh, that's
They're
cool.
more. I think the Ultramarine one is if you shoot stuff and you've already shot it and hit it, you get to reroll ones. I think it is in a
Yeah.
detachment, as it were. So I've not gone massively into the rules.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I think that when you increase the scale of the game, well, I don't really know how to phrase this because, like, if you increase the scale, I don't mean the models, I mean the
You've
size
increased
of
the
the game,
scope,
which means the models
of
get
the game.
smaller. Yeah, that. I think the more you increase the scope of a game and thus render the miniatures smaller, special rules that affect all miniatures on one side kind of become
Yeah.
less potent because just because of the scale of the thing that's going
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. And I think from what I've seen of the rules, and I've watched 3 games played in total now. No, 4 games. Was it 4? 3 or 4? I've watched a load of YouTube videos. Winters hasn't done one yet. I don't know if he is, but one of them was Battle Bunnies. One of them was
Ah,
GMG, and one of was Angry Joe. Actually, of all things, Angry Joe's going on the old Epic.
ah,
And it seems to play well. It seems to play well. One of the best and biggest things it's got going for it is alternate activations.
Yeah, it's
You know,
like AT.
like AT.
It seems to be a very, very much across of AT and
But
second edition.
I think it looks like a much more tactical game. It doesn't look like just one side blows the other side off of the table in the first turn, and then you just try and pick up all the pieces.
Oh, hi, 40k. Is
Yeah,
that you?
exactly.
To be fair, that's not an issue. That's limited to our current grumbling about 10th edition. That's been an issue that 40k's
I
had
think it's got a
for a
lot
long time.
worse as lethality's gone on, and that's the other really weird thing
Yes.
about Legion Imperialis is the lethality is kind of dialed down because you hit on a much worse roll now. So I think even Space Marine,
Yeah, but all the saving
all the
throws are
saving
really
throws are
crap.
really
Not saving
um,
throws, the wounds. Like most infantry and vehicles
yeah,
are
they've
like
only got
single
one wound,
wounds
but
or
also
2 at
their
the
saving
most.
throws are crap. I think Space Marines hit on a 5+ and save on a 5+. So what
Damn.
you've suddenly got is obviously 40k. It's not too hard to get yourself up to a 2+ to hit, and
Yeah.
quite often you can re-roll ones. So what this is saying is you're going to hit 5 times out of 6, and I'm not going to work the percentage out on that, but it's a lot. Re-rolling the ones on top, you must be getting close to like a 90% hit rate.
What was that percentage you were trying to work out?
Well, it's 5 out of 6. Also re-rolling any ones.
So you need a 5 and a 6, or you need a 2+.
No. So you're hitting on a 2+. So 5 out of 6
Okay.
times you are going to hit. So whatever that percentage is.
It's 84%.
Okay, and then you're going to take 1/6 of that and re-roll those.
Yeah, re-rolls completely throw me.
This is why I said I can't be asked to work out the percentage. And
Yeah.
then 5/6 of that is also going to hit. So it's like 84% of 1/6 added to the 80. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's ridiculous, and that's why stuff gets deleted.
It's the same as what BS7 used to be in 40k, where you need a 2+ to hit, and if you missed, then you needed to roll again and get a 6 or something like that.
Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't seem like the thing with bolt action. One of the things I liked about bolt action, and I didn't play much of it, but one of the things I did like is it kind of showed war a lot more
Chaotic.
not chaotic, but you're a lot less accurate in that game. You hit on like 4s and 5s maybe, and then like you might have cover and long range. You'd be up to like a 7 to hit, which is obviously a 6 followed by a 4.
Yeah. Ouch.
It made it,
And you
like,
also pull dice out of a bag to
too.
see which units go.
Yeah, which is a brilliant mechanic. Absolutely
Was that
brilliant
Rick
mechanic.
Priestley again, was it?
It was Rick Priestley's thing after 40k. So basically, what you do is you take a unit, you take a dice for each of your units. So like grey for the Germans, I don't know, green for the British or whatever. Pop them all in a bag, and then you take out a dice each round.
Yeah.
And then whoever's side it is chooses your unit to activate. And what you do is the dice has different orders on the dice.
Okay.
You effectively take that dice, put it next to your unit with the order showing to show what it's doing. Very, very elegant, cool mechanic. But yeah, so Legion Imperialis looks a lot more tactical to me. It looks like fun. They say play at 3,000 points, but obviously the games we've seen have been a lot smaller than that. Oh, of course, the other Battle Purple I've seen is on bloody Warhammer Plus, isn't it?
That was it, yeah. That was pretty good.
That's the other one I've seen. And it was, one of their better ones for sure.
Surprisingly. Simon Grant, though. I like that chap.
Yeah, he's
I met him a few times. He's a nice chap.
Yeah, Nick's nice as well. I saw him and he permitted me on my 2nd edition Tyranid Codex t-shirt.
Was he like, excuse me, sir, your age is showing?
Yeah, pretty much. I like the look of Imperialis a lot, and whether I'm actually going to get to play any games or not, I don't know. But I mean, I'm really looking forward to putting the armies together, painting it, give me an excuse to get my Titans done and the Legion Imperialis stuff done. And
it's small and cute. There's a chance that your other half might like it.
Maybe if they do demons. Can you imagine how small Nurglings would be in that game?
Impossible.
Exactly, impossible.
It'd just be a pile, wouldn't it? It literally like the 40k ones. It'd just be a pile.
Literally, get some grains of sand and just put them on a base and paint them green. Done. So yeah, I really like the look of it, and the negative, and they have been pretty negative. Probably the most negative I've seen about any GW product. Comments. Some of them I think are justified, and some of them I think are not justified.
Yeah.
One of the things I think absolutely is justified is the tokens.
Not so
Those
great.
tokens are apparently, they're so thin, man. I don't think they're even 1 millimeter thick. They are literally, the stuff that they make the reference sheets out of. It's just that with tokens. It's just that made into tokens.
Yeesh.
So they're complete shit, and that's not a good look. So I think that's
the stuff that Stu was talking about isn't there some clear stuff that you can get to put on?
Mod Podge.
Yeah, that.
As you said, you and me both own 3D printers, so I'm just gonna 3D print some
Yeah, that's
tokens,
fair
job
enough.
done. But yeah. Just when it comes to GW again, and the quality and the perspective of value out of this box set, which we will discuss because we've obviously got some prices for things now. I don't think it's a great look,
Yeah,
really, to have those horrible, really thin. Even Aeronautica Imperialis came with thicker tokens than that. I'm not expecting anything to the level of Space Hulk 2007 these days, but that was a gold standard, probably never to be repeated.
yeah.
But having something that is 1 millimeter or less than 1 millimeter thick, tokens that need using that much, when you consider that you're putting them down blank fight side up every unit and then turning them over, I don't think that's a great look. I think they could
No.
have done better there.
Sometimes when it comes
But
to
some of the
stuff
other
like this, I tend to
criticisms,
get the impression that specialist games kind of just get like a thrown a bone. Sometimes I get it. Like I suspect that this epic was probably. I mean, when they did the most recent Titanicus, like specialist games blatantly said we've got no plans to do epic. We're not going to add vehicles to this scale or anything like that. So given that
yeah,
we kind of know that staffers and ex-staffers have both said that old school staff who have been at Games Workshop a long time, who were there for a lot of the older stuff that we remember from when we were younger, kind of gravitate towards specialist games. I get the impression that sometimes stuff like Epic is a little bit of like a love letter from them, and like the more corporate side of the newer corporate side of the business, like Games Workshop proper, just kind of tolerates them and throws them a bone, and just goes, fine, do Epic. But 40k and
yeah,
AOS are going to get priority over resources and time and
hmm.
releases and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I think it's a
Yeah,
passion
definitely.
project.
So I think they've kind of gone, we need tokens, mate. And they were like, yeah, sorry, we've used all the good card stuff from China. We're not waiting for any more of that shit. So you need to use the crap stuff and we'll get it printed by like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
Wayne Printers down the road or something with a nice English name.
Yeah, I mean, you raised like a point. Look at Adeptus Titanicus. That came with a lovely sprue of plastic tokens and
Yes, it did. And
uh,
card. And
earning
decent
gauges and things
decent
like
card
that,
terminals with holes in them to put tokens
and
on.
decent card
They
terminals,
soon went.
which gave which gave that kind of high
Oh yeah.
quality
Yeah, it
feeling
did.
to it. Um, and that just doesn't seem to be there this time
No.
round. And even the value, and we'll quickly talk about the value. Obviously, it's 120 quid.
Just quick. It sounds
Now,
like they've made the tokens out of the same stuff that they fell back on to use for the Titan terminals from Titanicus.
yes,
The shitty,
yes, that is exactly
shitty
the kind
thin
of.
card. Well, it's not
And
inherently
yeah,
shit. It's just shit compared to what it should be and what was previously used.
you know what you get in White Dwarf
Yes,
is that.
it's that stuff. Yeah.
It's that stuff. So it's really bendy, kind of just thick paper, basically.
To be fair, it's kind of like we love AT. Like for me personally, I think it's the best thing that Games Workshop have done for a very long time. A very long time. The rules are solid. The models are great. The
Hmm.
scope is good. Like it's a good, solid, logical rule set. Like a lot of eventualities are covered if you're going to use the advanced rules and whatnot. Titan behavior is there.
Hmm.
Stuff.
That's the thing I really like about it. Is each Titan feels like a character.
Exactly, yeah. And like I was kind of saddened to find out that James Hewitt, who's the guy who basically did the rules for it, left Games Workshop after they released Titanicus. And I was like, well, that kind of doesn't bode too well for Epic, because if he's not
Mm.
there, I don't think it's going to be the same standard. Now, I don't expect it to have the depth of AT, because you'd never get a fucking game finished with that many models and like units and stuff on the
Yeah,
board.
yeah.
But I was kind of like, AT is a quality rule set, and I will die on that hill compared to a lot of other stuff that Games Workshop have done.
I still think that Epic is a touch, or I'm just going to call it Epic. I'm not
Go
going
on,
to call it Legions
Epic's
Imperialis.
fine.
I still think that Epic is basically a touch above 40k though.
Yeah. Oh well, I'll see. Like when it comes to 10th edition, I don't think that's going to be too hard, given what our opinion is of it.
Yeah, rather.
But when it comes to like more mature 40k, like 6th and 7th edition, it remains to be seen. Like, we'll
Mm.
give Epic a go. It's a different beast. I mean, it's based on second edition Epic, but again, I don't expect it to be the same as that.
No, I mean, I think with what I've seen, it seems to be on a par with Heresy.
Yeah, that's cool.
Obviously, Heresy is a reskin of seventh
Pretty much,
edition.
pretty
But
much. So
as far as I'm talking
it's like
about,
7.5 in a way.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So as far as I'm talking about rules being similar, I mean from a perspective of a focus on tactics, things kind of making sense for what the units are, so they do what you would expect them to do.
Yeah.
So, things that are shooty, things that are choppy, and the stats reflect that, and the way they act in the game reflects that.
Yeah. I think that
it's quite keyword heavy, which is another good sign for that kind of thing.
Yeah, that was one thing that made me laugh in one of those reviews. They were like, we're not too sure the power balance of this is any good because we sent assault marines up against like is it Venatari? Like the auxilia with the power axes. We sent in assault marines and they got chopped to fuck. And I was like, you sent assault marines against a unit with a weapon designed to destroy power armor. I'm like, no, they've got axes. You fucking shoot them. Don't try and chop them up. You just shoot the bastards. Oh, that's a really big axe with lightning crackling around it. I ain't going near that. Where's my bolt gun? Well,
there is an inherent imbalance in the game in that the Solar Auxilia apparently have more points and work better, especially their tanks, than the Space Marine ones.
I think that's a fair assessment based on how Marines should work, given they're like an elite strike force, not an army.
This leads us on to the actual box set itself. So it's 120 quid, and you can take that straight away as basically being your Legion infantry, the Legion tanks, because there's basically half of two different tank boxes there.
Yeah. So you just
put
the two together.
Yeah, and the Solar Auxiliary tanks, because they're exactly the same.
Yep.
So there's your 120 quid. So what you're basically getting is the rule book and the Warhounds for free. I won't bother counting the tokens or the dice or range rules or any of that kind of crap, because that's by the by. You need that for the starter set.
Yeah.
So your free stuff is the Warhounds and the rule book.
It's pretty good going.
Now it's not bad. It's hard. It's weird to count the rule book anyway, because you normally don't. So with 40k, for example, you don't count the rule book. You just look at the models. So what we'll say is you're just getting the Warhounds for free.
I count the rule book. That's like nearly 40 quid.
It's not bad. Yeah, but I'm saying we don't for 40k.
I do.
When we do 40k, when we look at models for 40k, we go, right, okay, you've got this much worth of Space Marines, you've got this much worth of, what was it? Help, Tyranids. The rulebook doesn't normally factor into it with those. So I'm not going to include it here. I'm just going to look at the models. So you're basically getting the Warhounds for free, which isn't bad, but it's only a saving of like, what, 20%? So by starter box standards, especially if you look at something like the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness.
Oh, mate, that was
pretty.
I think that was an anomaly with the amount of stuff that you got in it, though.
Because again, if you count up the amount of stuff that was in Horus Heresy Age of Darkness, I'm pretty sure you got like well over 100 quid worth of stuff for free. Well over 100 quid worth of plastic models for free. So from that perspective, again, if we're looking at Legion Imperialis being treated by GW as the poorer child, and like, okay, you don't need to offer as much of a saving because people are going to go for it. There's your saving. Your Warhounds are free. I basically think you could put something better than Warhounds in there. I think A, they don't help the game at this stage. B, you can't take them legally in the game. They had to come up with a new special scenario just so that you could feel what you get in the box.
I was going to say, yeah, a Reaver. And then you've carried on and said that, and I'm like, yeah, maybe not.
And C, they're nothing new. I know they've got a new weapon.
All four of them are new weapons, apart from the Ursus Claw, which is just now in plastic.
But, I think if you're making an epic game, you could have put something else in there and maybe even chuck some scenery in. It doesn't have to be to the standard of the Civic Imperatus stuff, whatever it's called. But because the game relies quite heavily on scenery, not the fat box, because the game relies quite heavily on scenery, I think you could have put something in there. Like, you remember the old Epic Ruins?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, something like that, something very basic like that. Even if it had been half of what you get in the Ruin set, the Civic Imperial, I think that would have just made it look like a better starter set.
Yeah.
If you said, I think GW have given them the short end of the stick and just gone, basically, look, you want to make this. We think the appeal for it is limited. I'm pretty sure they did not make as many copies as they did the Horus Heresy, because it's sold out pretty damn.
Here's your financial and production budget. There you go.
Yeah.
Do your best.
Exactly that. Yeah. But all that said, I would rather have it than not have it.
Oh, definitely.
Simple
Definitely.
as that. It's probably my favourite thing to come out this year
Yeah.
by some distance.
I don't
I
mean,
can't think of anything.
it's not hard. Like,
No, I really like the new Tyranid range.
yes, the
So
models are
I
great, except for that
really like
stupid new
the
elector.
model
But yeah.
wise. But yeah, I mean, for grognards like us, for the older crowd, I think that's we are the target audience. We remember Epic the first time round. I don't see little Jimmy getting into Legions Imperialis.
No.
I just don't see it. I don't see 12-year-olds getting into this game, even if the recent Citadel painting videos look like a 6-year-old painted them.
Oosh.
I don't think oh, they're awful. Absolutely. I understand you don't want to intimidate people with paint skins, but Jesus Christ, like it's like if you're colouring, stay in between the lines. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to call it crayon hammer. I really don't. But those paint jobs were not good. And also the contrast can work at that scale because I've seen it used, but you can't just blob it on like GW do. You have to thin it out with contrast medium, and then contrast works quite nicely. But those paint videos were not good at all. And it's quite funny actually because I've got the dislike thing on YouTube, the extension.
Okay.
That video, Legion Astartes one, it's got 800 likes, 145 dislikes. Not a good ratio for YouTube.
Oof.
Your average ratio for dislikes for YouTube should be no more than like 10%, or you're really doing something wrong. So yeah, I don't think anybody else was impressed by those videos either. But I've seen what some people can do. Like Richard Gray at the other end of the scale put up his stuff, and obviously it all looks amazing. You can't really even tell it's like a epic model. He's painted his bloody Imperial Fist Predators like they're Horus Heresy Predators. But yeah, can't wait to get hold of my copy. But the reviews did sort of leave a bit of a sour note, and I don't know how it's being perceived. One of the most stupid things I saw in the reviews, though, was the one that said that the rulebook was the worst they've ever seen. A, nobody else has said that. B, I've seen the rulebook, at least 30, 40 pages of it. It looks fine to me. It looks like the Horus Heresy one.
Yeah, which is a fine rulebook. Does the job.
Which is a fine rulebook. So, I mean, the layout, as in where things are in the book, could be better, but the actual presentation and production of the book is absolutely fine. I'm sorry it's not got bright colours everywhere like 40k for you.
Different
I'm
crowd.
sorry about that. I don't know what you were expecting. It's a rule book. The pages in the rules in 40k are like, I don't know, 18 odd pages. The rules in Horus Heresy are 130 pages, I think it was.
Yeah.
There is going to be a difference in presentation between the rule books. So that was one criticism that I couldn't really take on board, to be honest. I don't remember anything else. You obviously had a quick look at that review. Do you remember anything else from the bad points?
Let's go back and have a quick look.
I think it was Foulhammer.
Yeah. I was trying to avoid naming anyone.
Most of the review was pretty good.
One of their complaints was that they expected order tokens to be double-sided. And I was like,
yeah, which is a bit weird when
I
they're
was
secret.
like, yeah, you put them down in secret. I mean, obviously you don't want the order on both sides of the token.
No, but it does make it a bit weird that there's double-sided tokens at all, which makes you wonder if maybe there was an error, which again suggests a lack of oversight and budget and things like that. Like maybe they got the tokens back and went, "Oh shit, these are meant to be secret." We can't really spray one side of these tokens every single time before we send them out. So we better get some more tokens done and bundled with the rulebook or something. But I mean, I think it's a fine product. The saving isn't the best, but you're getting what you want. And I think we looked at the expansions last time around, and I think they were reasonable value as well.
Yeah.
30 quid gets you a bundle of Space Marines, and although at first I thought the tanks were stupidly expensive, I don't think so anymore.
You've seen them.
I've seen them, held them, made with the little sponsons, and moved the turrets about and stuff.
Cradled them lovingly.
I think the tanks are amazingly well engineered. They are so far and beyond what we used to have back in the days of Epic 40k. Back in the days of Epic 40k, the Rhino was one piece.
Yeah, so was the Land Raider. Both hollow
underneath.
No,
the Land Raider was 3 pieces because the sponsons were separate.
Are you sure?
In Epic 40k, yes.
Are we talking about second edition?
No. We're talking about Epic 40k.
See, I never played that after my time.
After they released the new version of the Land Raider, the Mark II, they then did an Epic version of it.
Oh yeah, this is not those.
So, but now, for example, the Rhino is 8 pieces at a minimum.
Does it need to be 8 pieces? Loaded,
I'm not
loaded
entirely sure
question.
that
Have they over-engineered the vehicles?
this is what I'm thinking. I mean, I'm not entirely sure the exhausts needed to be separate. And that might be a little bit too much. And this is the other thing that I'm thinking when it comes to the starter box and the value. Had they made simpler models, they could have got a lot more in.
Yeah.
But I don't think GW is going to stretch that budget of going, look, you can do a whole different sprue run just for the starter box, just so we can get more stuff in there. So, you have got all these tiny, tiny packed sprues, like loads of little bits, some of which you're not going to use because you're not going to do all the options. Fuck magnetising at that scale. But yeah, maybe they are a little bit over-engineered, because they are, as I said, does a Rhino need to be 8 pieces? It's a top, a bottom, 2 sides, and then 4 exhausts. And that's before we're even talking about pincer weapons or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean the pincer weapons I get. Like if you want to accurately represent different weapons that you can deck your little vehicles out with,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Like I didn't expect that, and that's great. But I'm kind of like, really, you couldn't have just made a Rhino like what 3 bits with the exhaust attached?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't. If I'm playing a game with somebody and somebody's saying that Rhino hasn't got Stormbolter because I can't see it on there,
get out.
I'm probably not going to be playing games with that person anymore.
No.
So yeah, are they over-engineered a little bit? Maybe. Are they really fucking nice?
Yes.
Yes. They are really nice. It is what it is in the starter box. If it had been more simple, they could have got a lot more stuff in, but you've got full kits. These aren't snap fit models. This is a full, proper Warhound kit, and we all know what that's like to put together.
Lovely.
It's got loads of little bits and stuff. Yeah, it's lovely to put together, but it's not easy by any means. It's got loads of little like the pipes and things on the weapons, and they're complex kits. This is not a starter level game. I'm sorry, it's just not.
It's
It's
just
got
occurred to
all
me
these little bits.
that when my Epic box turns up, I'm going to have a 5th and a 6th Warhound. And admittedly, when you look at people like our chum Lee Marshall,
It's nothing but
who has I don't want to know how many Titans he's got now. I'm certain it's in triple figures easily.
oh yeah, no, this is like 160 Titans. I
Yeah,
think it was when I
but
was One World.
but I'm kind of like, what am I going to do with a 5th and a 6th Warhound? I can't sell the things.
Same as I'm going to do with my 7th and 8.
Use them.
I've already got 6.
Right.
To be fair, two of them are still in the shrink wrap, so maybe I can move those on.
Yeah.
If needs be. But that is the other thing with Epic. You can't have all your Titans.
No. Well, not yet. They might expand it out when they get around to doing Mechanicus, but we'll see.
I'd like to think they would, but at the moment, you can't use all your Titans. You just can't at all. A 30% is all it can be. So even if you've got a 3,000 point game, which is the size they say you should play, that's a lot of stuff. It's 1,000 points of Titans.
I mean, to be fair, like thinking back to second edition Epic that I played in my teens, I don't think there was an overabundance of Titans in there either.
No, there wasn't, but
there's probably more than what they've got now.
Adeptus Titanicus in those days wasn't quite as because you had Imperators and everything was a bit smaller.
Yeah.
I think people were playing Adeptus Titanicus with a lot of Titans, and you're not going to be able to get that force into your Epic army no matter how hard you try.
No.
Unless, as you say, they come up with something for the other races. And this is another problem with Legion Imperialis, in my opinion, is that you do, at the moment, only have Solar Auxilia and Space Marines. It's better than just Space Marines, don't get me wrong, but, you would think that there is going to have to be Adeptus Mechanicus, Demons, and Custodes, at least. And how long is it going to be before we see those? Is it going to be like the Assault Space Marines? Is it going to be a year down the line? Are they waiting? Have they even been thought about? Are GW saying, let's see how this sells?
Yeah.
Before we even think about things, even Adeptus Mechanicus, which you would think be the minimum into it. I dare say we're going to get resin Primarchs and stuff turn up every now and again.
How would they even sell those? Like what, separately? They're going to be like a $5.
No, I was thinking about this, and the way I would do it is I would basically do a bodyguard.
Yeah.
A Primarch. Yeah. So I do almost like a Primarch detachment.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Like a mini Primarch detachment type thing, like a HQ.
So it'd be them and like four stands of fancy Terminators or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like you'd have like Horus turn up with his, what they call Justerin, are they?
Yes.
And didn't Fulgrim have some kind of Phoenix Guard or something?
Yep.
They've all got some kind of retinue.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would do it that way.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I can't imagine they're not going to put Primarchs into the game. I think you'd probably see those before you see Adeptus Mechanicus.
That upsets me.
And I'm hoping we do see Adeptus Mechanicus. You know, I'm hoping we see it all. But going by the Horus Heresy could be a fucking long time.
I got time.
I mean, I'm hoping we see an epic Stormbird.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I don't think there's any reason we shouldn't.
Definitely the scope for it.
I don't think there's any reason we shouldn't see an epic Stormbird. You know, the Thunderhawk isn't that big in the game. You could easily do a Stormbird. So I'm kind of hoping we see that. I think they've shown off Mastodons. So I don't know what other big stuff there is. But yeah, it's you know, I can't wait to get hold of it. I took most of the reviews with a pinch of salt. I watched a fair few different YouTube videos and previews and stuff. And some of the ones that I really wanted to get stuck into it haven't shown their hand yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to. Obviously, we've still got nearly 2 weeks to go till it's bloody out.
Don't talk about it. It's too long a wait.
I can't believe it. Basically, the delivery day is the day after Paradise Lost, and I'm not home. I'm in Essex all that weekend. Well, no, I've got family stuff going on all that week. Yeah, I don't get back till like late Sunday night. I've got to do some tarantula stuff for a friend. I've got a cousin's 40th birthday to go to and stuff. I'm like, I just want to go home and put paint on space.
It's going to be like, apologies, I can't do any of this. I mean, you could always get it delivered to your parents' address instead.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I think I should wait for it to come. I'll come home. I'll wait to come home and I'll go down to the post office and go get it and do it that way. As bad as it'd be like losing stuff at my place, it'd be 10 times worse than losing it at mum and dad's. Never to be seen again. So yeah, I'm still really looking forward to Legion Imperialis. One thing I want to say, that video I got, and I will put a link or text or something in it. The guy tried painting checkers on the Dark Angels infantry.
Madness.
Absolute insanity.
I can barely paint fucking checkers on the things at 32mm. That's why I don't.
You absolute nutter. I mean, lightning strikes on the Night Wars, I can kind of understand. It's a bit of their thing. Checkers, I was like,
unnecessary.
And not again on a dreadnought or something.
Yeah,
like, fine. On the
armor, not a problem.
No, on the van base of an infantry machine, marine, not so much.
No thanks.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to turning up. As I say, I don't think it needed the Titans in there. I think they are a detriment to the game, and I'm not sure about GW's thinking behind that.
I disagree. Everyone loves the Titan, except you.
Everyone loves the Titan. I just don't think. Again, if you had simpler models and you had a 50% more of each side in there because you had simpler models, and by all means chuck a Titan in there. But the Titan is nearly the same amount of points as the Space Marines.
Yeah, and looking at it that way, it does seem a little bit much compared to what you already get. It's like, could have done away with that and just put in more infantry and tanks.
Hell, you could have even put a banner and knights in there, and that would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Especially seeing as Titans can't hold objectives and stuff like that, so it just seems like a bit of a weird thing to throw in there. I'm not quite sure the reason.
I'm not sure if Knights can. Where are my leaks? Wombo, keep talking.
The other thing is that there is a lot of stuff not in the rulebook. So obviously the jet bikes and all that aren't in the rulebook, which means they want a supplement, which means they don't have a book to collect, which means fucking multiple books to get more rules. I just don't want this to turn into another fucking I need a stack of books to play my game type thing. Because obviously they've not put any effort into making any kind of digital version of this, you notice. There's been nothing at all on that basis. So there's obviously no budget for that. So
you never know, it might get released later on. I mean, how much budget do you need for doing digital books? Like, obviously, I'm not really involved in like desktop publishing or ebook publishing or any of that stuff. But all that stuff's PDFs already because they have to be PDF to send it off to the printer. So. But yeah, like you were saying about box contents from that well, as soon as you named them, like that Fohammer review, they did say that the build sheet for the models specifies like double the vehicles that the box actually comes with,
right,
and just one Warhound instead. So I suspect that at the time of designing that sheet earlier on in the production process, that probably the box may well have just been just Marines with a single Warhound.
Or it would be, but then you can do a single Warhound.
Yeah, with a shitload more Marines because you don't have solar auxiliary clogging up the box.
You can't do a single Warhound, that's what I'm saying. There's 2 to a sprue.
Oh yeah, true. Most odd.
I'm not sure what that was about. I mean, yeah, absolutely. It could well be as simple as that. All they've done is they've been super lazy and copy pasted the rules, not the rules, the instruction guide from the box of Predators, which would have double the amount.
Yeah, probably.
Into that.
Yeah, I mean, why would they do it twice?
When
you can just do it once.
I would honestly see it being an oversight like that. But yeah, you couldn't have just one Warhound because there's 2 in a sprue. That wouldn't work. It could be better. I mean, they've held off things like jet bikes and all that for an expansion, and even after that, we're still going to be waiting on some other stuff.
Yeah, there's no sign of the artillery that they've covered.
No sign of the artillery, and I just don't know if I like this piecemeal way of releasing things. I know they want people buying stuff long term and stuff like that, but I'm just like, could you not just get it all over and done with, like for one army? Do you know what I mean? And then have another army be the second thing you reveal, or have the Space Marine stuff come out now, because it's sort of like right now, if you want to play White Scars, no bikes, no jet bikes.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you want to be true to them, but again, it depends on what their Legion rule is. I haven't got a clue. Like most of the Legion stuff, I think I saw them in leaks. But like it says here in my notes that I've got here that I've compiled over the months of them annoyingly drip feeding the stuff, it says White Scar's Legion rule makes Jink saves better for units that have Jink. However, in the core rules, only flyers have Jink so far. No idea when jet bikes / land speeders are coming out. So
yeah, that sounds like what Ash Barker said. So yeah, improvement to your Jink, and again, there's your rule. Great. The Xiphons and your Thunderhawks are a little bit harder to hit.
apparently, Xiphons are nails though.
They were good in the Battle Bunnies report.
I need to watch that.
I thought, but the way that Heresy has been treated has me worried.
Yeah,
Because Heresy, which is by all is a much bigger budget, wider scope game, still doesn't have at this moment Assault Marines
all breaches. It was an impressive
breaches.
start. Like the box for Heresy was fucking nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Out the gates.
It
Fantastic.
sort of petered out a little bit. It's kind of similar to the whole reason why I binned off my Star Wars Armada box and some of the ships that I had for that, because like the box was great, and like as a Rebel player I was like, I fucking love this game. This is really good. It's proper like tactical. You have to plan ahead and get stuff done. It doesn't seem to be like a reactive game like what I consider X-Wing to be, because I really didn't enjoy that at all. And then Fantasy Flight just went, oh, X-Wing, you like that? And just went with all the X-Wing releases, and we're kind of like, hi, there's we like stuff for Armada as well. And by the time they actually got around to releasing decent stuff for Armada, I just shifted mine on.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem with a lot of the stuff. I mean, like this piecemeal waiting for, and the thing is, it's not so bad with some games like Armada, I suppose, because you've still got enough. You still had the Star Destroyers, and you still had something on the other side. So you weren't lacking a part of the game. You've got no fast units. There's no jet bikes. There's no bikes. There's no artillery, as we said. Most of the tanks aren't here. When are they going to be here? No, probably not.
I reckon they'll both be in the same expansion book. So you'll have artillery introduced, and then fast attack stuff to counter it.
Hopefully. I just kind of feel like we've got half a game at the moment in more ways than one, not just the start, half of a system.
It's a start.
And I'm just kind of hoping that it's not going to be dragged out like Horus Heresy is.
It's a start. I mean, they've previewed a whole bunch of stuff already. Like the fire support's got like Leviathans in it, Rapiers, Derridios.
Oh yeah, it's all been shown off, and
the curious.
I kind of think maybe it's meant to be out by now.
Well, I suspect that was the original plan, because it obviously got massively delayed, and I think they were probably going to do like the actual box release a few months back, and then by the time December rolls around, they'd have done the expansions and stuff for it. But I think these probably got pushed back to next year.
Yeah, I don't think we would see them before Christmas at this point.
They'll be like treat your Valentine with a fire support box for Legion Imperialis. Even paint them red, because everyone loves Blood Angels. How romantic.
And also we've got that picture that used to have the Kratos in it as well. And nobody would have known if they hadn't put that picture up. Dumbasses.
Don't point that out. They'll never send us free stuff further down the line. I mean, that's not why we do this, but still.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping it gets picked up. I'm hoping it's sold out. That's a good sign.
Oh yeah.
At least on GW
surprisingly, on GW's site, the Solar Auxiliary Infantry sold out as well.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
As of now, I don't know if it's just because they produced less of them than the Marines, but yeah, sold out.
I'm worried, man. Just literally after what I've seen with the Horus Heresy, I'm just a little bit worried. I'm just like, is this actually gonna? Are you gonna do what we need you to do?
Or are you gonna leave us hanging
and do this game properly? Or are you gonna massively open to 3D printers?
Yeah.
And have people doing that. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I think I'm hoping that it's going to be good. I'm hoping that the people in Specialist Games have got the red screwed on, but I don't see it ever ever getting 40k races. I don't think it's ever going to get Xenos.
I mean,
Just don't see it.
it'd be nice if it did.
Nice, but I just don't ever see it. I think it'd taken that long to. Sorry, not Adeptus Mechanicus. Mechanicum. I think it'd taken that long to get through Mechanicum. I mean, it took me a year and a half to get the rules for demons out.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's a Demons player.
Rules. No plastic Mechanicum yet. No plastic Solar Auxilia yet. And yeah, this version of Epic. No land speeders. No jet bike.
I feel like
Presumably all
I feel I have to get in my yearly rant that I've had ever since I got my hands on like the black book that actually had the old first edition Heresy Mechanicum units in it. Still no Arlatax model. Thank you very much.
Is there really
And
not?
I really,
Wow.
really, really want one, because who doesn't want a robot that's like a Domitar with a jump pack, big power claws? Like, it used to have 2 plasma blasters, which has now been replaced with a plasma cannon, and 2 mini auto cannons built into the claws. Who doesn't want one of those horrific things jumping around the battlefield, slicing everything up? How have they not done a model for
I
it?
know, right?
It's like, look, you did a Domitar, you did Iron Circle Domitar that the vast majority of players don't give a shit about because they're not Iron Warriors. Like, where's my Arlatax? It's had rules for over 10 years. Like, what the fuck is it? Baffling. I feel better now.
It's not even like these models exist. Like for Heresy, at least they exist. Like they exist in resin, but people who have those armies can play them.
Yeah.
In this, they don't exist. So I think how quickly they get stuff out is going to be a key factor to how much it's supported. It's like Aeronautica Imperialis.
Why they stopped support for that is
No.
baffling. It's still a good game.
Aeronautica Imperialis was never even finished.
No?
No Tyranids,
Not true.
no Dark Eldar. Those are races that would have flyers, and they could have done some really cool stuff with them. And I'm sure, obviously, Votan I don't think were a thing when Aeronautica Imperialis came out.
They haven't got flyers at the moment anyway. You get gunships mentioned in the Codex, that's about it.
Definitely missed off. So yeah, Aeronautica Imperialis, again, I think potentially would have suffered from that, and some of the stuff being Forge World only. If you wanted to play Necrons, then you had to play stupid Forge World prices. It was like what, 40 quid for 2 flyers or something stupid like that. Probably not get too many people to do that kind of thing.
No. It's like they want people to 3D print stuff.
I'm really, as much as I'm positive and enthusiastic about, as much as I'm positive and enthusiastic about Pick, I'm also partly concerned just because of GW's past.
Yeah, also realistic about where the future might go, or not, as the case may be.
Well, this is it. Will it get picked up? Will it get played? I don't see it being supported. I can't see it.
Well, AT got a decent level of support, to be fair.
Yes, support, but not exposure.
But this has effectively replaced AT, so I would expect the same amount of support for this.
I don't think AT was treated all that well. As we said, the cards were made of cheap stock. You couldn't get the stuff back in. The cards have already sold out for this, and they're pretty important because they've got your detachments.
Yeah, that was pretty funny in an ironic way. Like, they sort of went, here's Titanicus, here's your Titans in boxes. And we were like, thanks very much. Why have you done the command terminal separately? And they were like, because we have.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we want the command terminals in boxes. And Games Workshop were like, all right, then here you go. And we were like, no, not like that. Why have you given us the shit card in the box?
Yep. Yeah, I got some of the weapons cards because they came in that. I got both the big Titan boxes. So the Knight Household and whatever the Titan one was called.
Is it a Maniple?
I think it was a Titan Maniple, yes. And they came with those cards that I'm talking about, and they were like literally punch out of a sheet of paper type card. You could see the rough edges and everything.
They were serviceable, but not great. Like, if you wanted something that was great, you had to have got like the original game or one of the command terminal boxes, which actually had the decent card ones in with the holes punched out.
Yeah, exactly. You could put the tokens in and stuff like that, and I don't personally think I don't think Specialist Games has been treated that well at all. I mean, it exists, and I'm grateful for that, and it gives the people who actually care about this stuff an outlet to produce some really cool stuff that we like more than the baseline games.
I'd say without a shadow of a doubt, if it was over the last 5 years especially, if it wasn't for Specialist Games, we probably wouldn't be doing anything by Games Workshop apart from stuff that we've already got. I'd say, and I'd probably include pretty much all of Team Handsome in that as well, like the rest of our group.
I think we'll probably still be playing 40k.
Oh.
I just think we would have gone back to an older edition.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Just playing stuff we've already got. Like we wouldn't have got any of the newer stuff. None of us play AOS. Like we barely played 9th. It didn't really appeal to us. We tried it a bit, wasn't great.
Yeah.
10th right out. Like I think only one of us has got any real interest in playing it. And I'll indulge that because why not? If someone wants to play it, then we'll play it. But I don't think it will particularly catch on with many others.
No, I mean I got the 10th set, and partly because it was Ultramarines and Tyranids, which are my 2 original armies back from like the 90s, but mainly with a view that it was so simple that I could probably convince Kirsty to play it.
Yeah, it's definitely entry level 40k.
Very entry level, yeah, very very entry level.
Yeah.
No real nuance or anything to it at all, and that goes in nearly every game I've played. The amount of games I've seen where it's effectively over on game turn 1.
Yeah. That's how you don't want 40k to go, and that's been a problem with it for.
You should never ever have put something on the table that will not get to do anything.
No.
I'm sorry, that's just shit.
Yeah. I mean, the odd unit here and there, but if you end up losing like a quarter or a third of your force just on the first turn, it's like, what's the fucking point? Like, but I mean,
you might as well just start. You might as well just start the game with less points.
Yeah, but to be fair, like that's an issue that 40k's had for a while now. I mean, 6th and 7th, 40k for me at least, and I think probably the rest of our group, I'm pretty safe to say, was peak 40k with regards to the amount of stuff you could put on the table versus the depth of the rules that catered for a whole lot of eventualities and actions on the table. But even then, like it was still more than capable of having a lot of stuff deleted out from under you before you even got to do anything with it. Which was why I was so shocked. Like Games Workshop went and released Kill Team, like you said, which had alternate activations in, and I was dead certain that when they released 9th, that would have the same thing, and that would completely clear up that issue. Unless someone was an absolute idiot and they didn't, use their opportunities for activations to get out of firing lanes or actually kill stuff that could kill them first. But they didn't, and they were like, no, here you go, and then they went and did 10th edition, which is somehow worse.
Let's try to mitigate it in some ways, but like making the second person who goes second do all their pointing at the end of the game. But as you correctly say, if you're starting turn 1 with 20% less of stuff than your opponent,
because
it's just
either by necessity or bad planning, you've decided to play a game on Planet Bowling Ball, and you've got fuck all like lost blocking terrain or anything. It's just big.
But even if you've got blocking terrain, all that happens is one player just hides behind it, rendering the first turn pointless anyway. And it's like,
well, you've got manoeuvring and stuff, but like you don't want to
stop being stubborn. Just do alternate activation. There's a reason every other game on the planet does it.
Does AOS even do it?
No, but AOS at least has an initiative, so you roll for initiative each turn.
Oh, fair enough.
But the problem there is you can actually sometimes get double turns, which is just as nasty. So you can end up using your entire army and then using your entire army again.
Oof.
But obviously, there's generally less. I'm going to say there's less shooting in Age of Sigmar.
Maybe, I don't know.
I haven't played much of it, but I imagine there's less artillery and shooting and ranged fire than there is in your average game of 40k, where something just fires across the table and just deletes stuff, or you use some kind of stratagem and it deletes stuff by doing stupid. I hate mortal wounds. I hate them so much.
Right. Contents of the box.